Hello, and welcome to Wannabe. Today's guest is Hope Powell. Now, Hope Powell is no stranger to breaking barriers. She's a football icon who shattered glass ceilings at every turn, from playing to coaching. She was the first woman to achieve a pro license and the first black person to be named coach of any English national football team. But beyond her trailblazing accomplishments, she's an advocate for diversity, inclusion, and fighting adversity. In today's episode, we're diving into Hope's incredible journey. You'll learn about her transition from a young player defying stereotypes to a managerial powerhouse in football. We talk about the glass cliff, the audacity to be a leader, and how to stay true to yourself, even when you're the first in the room. So sit tight, get ready to be inspired, and let's get into it, shall we? Who did you want to be before you became who you are today, and why?
I don't know that there was any one specific person. I wanted to be a professional footballer. From the very beginning of kicking a ball around on the estate, watching, I think the thing that really did it for me was it's either 76 or 78, forgive me, I always forget what it is, that World Cup, and watching it in its entirety on TV, the fans, the games, I just watched and I thought, I want to be a professional footballer. That World Cup just really honed me, I guess. It really inspired me because I just loved football. I played on the street. I got in trouble, not coming home on time. Got in trouble.
All for playing football, not even like you were doing shenanigans.
No, I just think it was more a cultural thing. West Indian parent. I'm going to say my mum brought me up, and not understanding that probably, especially football, is a girl thing, girl child. And football just don't comprehend. So there was this kind of a bit of a fight, a battle when I was growing up about, my love of football and all sports. That wasn't a thing that girls did, certainly in West Indies. It was, don't you?
I do know, actually, yes.
Yeah. So it wasn't kind of encouraged, really.
Yeah.
So I just decided to do it anyway.
So how did you overcome that? Obviously you were kind of sneaking out and doing it anyway, but at what point did maybe your mum's attitude change towards you?
I think the realisation that it kept me out of trouble, and actually I was quite good at it. And we got to, back in the day, they used to have Met Police five-a-sides. And it was a big deal. I used to go to Wembley, the arena, and loads of other teams were there. And, actually we won. And, and I got the trophy, player of the tournament. And I just remember that being part of the turning point and her realisation that this is good for me. She probably wouldn't view it that way. She probably said that she let me go, but she didn't. But I think it just must have dawned on her that this actually is probably really good for me because it kept me focused and into something.
How were you playing? And I guess you said you played on the estates and on the streets and with other kids, but how are you getting better? How are you kind of training and getting more skilled?
Before I joined an organised club, the street football, because I played essentially with boys, there was no other girl on the estate. I grew up on an estate that actually played, and it was competitive. It was my football education at a very, very young age. And the fact that I was very good at it, had a relationship with the boys, but they also didn't want a girl to be better than they were. So they tried even harder, which made me try harder, which made them, and then it just went like that. In my secondary school, I played in my secondary school, a girl who played organised football for Millwall Lionesses, and she said, you should really come along. And then I went along and I was absolutely flabbergasted. The girls, number one, the amount of girls that played. Number two, it was organised. There were bibs and cones and goals. It was organised. There was a coach that coached the girls. And I think from there he saw some potential in me and really honed my skills, I guess.
Back when you started and were invited to Millwall, what are the routes in for a young girl today? Like, what are the opportunities? Is it that she has to just start playing and then find local clubs and people are actively looking, especially for women and girls? What are the routes in?
Yeah, there are lots of local clubs. There are so many local girls' clubs, grassroots clubs. There are thousands. I think the best, if any young girl wants to get involved, go on the fa.com and, type in nearest local club. I'm guessing it's something like that. And it should be able to point you in the right direction. Mm. But I think the challenge is as you try and go through that pathway now. Mm-hmm. And that's where I think the accessibility starts to wear thin. If you're considered a good player, to get on that elite pathway becomes a little bit challenging,
right? Because
you can't access it. And the reason for that is basically, and I was part of this years ago, we wanted to try and professionalise the game at the earliest opportunity. So we attached the talent pathway to clubs, professional clubs. But what perhaps we didn't take into account years ago, and I say we because I was part of it, is that these centres on the pathway, they're in Lethe, Cobham.
Of course.
So I think, that has made it, I must say, the accessibility is hard for inner city kids, low income. I was one of those. If I'm flipping it and putting myself in the 11, 12-year-old shoe, you can't get there. When I started at Millwall, the coach dropped me home and the coach picked me up.
Amazing.
And if he didn't do that, I wouldn't be sitting in this chair. Yeah. And actually, the coach, I've got to give him a shout out, Alan May. He's still my mentor, coach today, and it's because of him that I had the opportunity. And the problem is only the people with cars and who can get their kids there, and sadly, it's becoming a white middle class sport.
Yes, I think that's been my observation. I was like, I can't help but notice that a lot of these players are white, but you see it more in the men's game that there is actually a real wide diversity of men playing from, I guess, a real diversity of backgrounds to an extent.
And there's a reason for that as well, because in the men's game, the clubs, they will put on transport to go and pick the kids up, take them home, pick them up, wherever.
So it's like an investment in that talent as well. It's an investment
in the talent. I think the FA recognise it. We all saw it at the final. You can't help but see the colour of, the pitch. It's not representative of society. I think they recognise that. And credit to them, they're trying to address it.
Thank you for speaking on that, because I guess, it was something that was abundantly clear to me. But I just, as an outsider or as a spectator in this, you just don't know what the blockages are, what the challenges are to increasing representation across the board. I would love to know about how you feel about competitiveness. Is that something that has always been in you, or is it something that you actually acknowledge that you needed to kind of progress and nurtured? Women are often told that we shouldn't be competitive. It's
nonsense.
it's a bad idea. It's unladylike to be competitive and want to win or excel or be ambitious. But in terms of your kind of career progression and your excelling in your career, how did you deal with competitiveness? Was it always something that was in you?
I was told I can't, and I thought I can. You come up against, people that I don't know, guess don't want you to succeed, or, make it very difficult. And I guess that's always made me, rather than step back, step forward. And I'm not brave. I'm not a brave person. I think brave is far beyond me. I am not brave. But I think the fact that I was passionate about it, being involved in football as a player first and foremost, and I loved it so much, and I felt I was good at it, was my driver. And then everything else that tried to block me, it just made me want it, I guess, even more. And I think as a black female, you know, going from playing to management, you know, a black female, my driver then was, I think I have a real responsibility here. And that was serious. I cannot fail. For me, first and foremost, but for everybody else that looks like me after me, female, black, male, black, female, I thought was really important. And that really drove me.
At what point did you realise you had that, or that responsibility, or you felt that responsibility of you're kind of representing?
When I was offered the England job.
Right, okay. So when you transitioned from player to management.
As a player, it was purely, you know, I wanted to play for the team. I loved the people that I played with and for. Still my friends today. But the getting the England job was a real, I think, moment for me. This is a big deal.
Yeah.
And by the way, a lot of people probably want you to foul. And that was never an option for me.
Yeah.
It was so much so in the first year at the FA, I got pleurisy. I just was so unwell because I was, you know, I was on it. I was like in everything. I was absolutely on it because I refused point blank. You cannot. You have to do everything to make sure you succeed. You do your best to ensure that happens.
You saying yes to that, of course, that is a really pivotal moment. You're the first black woman to do this job, and so I can understand, like, all of this is going to be going through your mind, and that you do want to do a good job, because that's just the nature of being the first anywhere, the first in the room, the first to climb to new heights. And it sounds like the pressure of that, though, was like immensely difficult. And so how were you coping with that pressure?
Yeah, I think friends were really supportive, but for me, the guy that coached me at Millwall was the guy that also helped me think things through, logical, and just gave me that safe space to go, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. Help. Blah, blah, blah. This is crap. Oh, I don't know. You know, and being able to offload and you know, get some support and reason. You know, your family's one thing, but he just gave me a safe space to say, oh my God, I feel like I'm drowning, or I tried this and this was crap, or this is getting on my nerves. And, you know, he just reasoned with, he got me to reason with myself and think things through with more clarity. Okay, so this, have you thought about this? And why did you do that? And, you know, challenging in the right way without telling me what to do, just making me look at things with a clearer head.
Yeah.
And that was really helpful.
Was this Alan still?
This is Alan May. If you're listening to this, you're getting a big up on this show.
Thanks, Alan.
You know, everybody in a role, you become a little bit fragile, a little bit unsure of the word imposter syndrome. I think we talk ourselves into that sometimes, but it's real. So I think, you know, anybody that's starting on a journey and a little bit, you know, you need somebody, I think. You need somebody that can, you know, you can talk things through with. And I do that for people. You know, what Alan did for me, I'm now doing that for people.
Did you feel experienced and equipped? Like, did you feel like, actually, I am the best person for this?
Absolutely.
What was going through your mind when the call came through, and when you were asked, like, was it a why me? Why would you ask me this?
I actually said to them, is this a token gesture? Black, female partner, everything, tick every box. Is that what you're doing? I absolutely thought you're doing it to tick a box. And I did say it. Why are you doing this? But I had coached. I've been coaching since I was 17, 18, always had an interest in coaching. And I had to believe what was said. No, we think you're the best candidate and stuff like that. And I had to believe it. I didn't have to. I chose to believe it. I went back and forwards to the FA, but the first time I went, and then I went back and I told my family and friends, they've just gone and offered me the bloody England job. I thought I was going there for a youth. They invited me in, not telling me what it was. I thought they were offering me, to be part of the youth setup. We're going to help you develop to one day maybe be a senior coach. No, we want to offer you the job. Why me? I didn't understand it, and it didn't sit well. But then I kind of went home, friends, family, and they said, "Are you crazy? If you don't take this job, we're going to beat the living day. What are you talking about?" And I was like, "It's a great opportunity. You mad?" And then someone said to me, "Look, Hope, you'll be sitting, if you don't take this job, you'll be sitting listening to this person speak, and you'll be sitting there saying, I could do this." And that really was the thing that made me take the job.
Could you have foreseen where women's football has come today? Was that, obviously it might have been what you would have wanted, but could you have foreseen it getting to this point?
It's definitely what we wanted. Mm-hmm. It's what we all worked for. We all wanted it, but we weren't sure. Yeah. I think that it would, and it's not where it should be, by the way. It's so much better than it was. There's still, I think the media, they only talk about the top part of the game, England. There's a whole pathway, the grassroots game. There's professional footballers earning not very much money, having quite often to get other jobs. Yeah. So it's not where, the whole game isn't where we want it to be, but we wanted the attention on the women's game, and still want it on the women's game. But we were working towards it with not really, it was a fight. So, we weren't really sure. We just kind of felt if we put the appropriate things in place, and hopefully at some point, whether it's now, next year, 20 years, 50 years, somebody will push it further forward.
I guess having a daughter who's now 1,
who's going to be an Olympian.
I hope so. But we've also said, why not a lioness? That's a question that's come up in, I would never have said that 5 years ago.
Absolutely.
It just wouldn't have occurred to me that would be a thing that she could do and excel at. And actually, by the time she's 16, 17, it will be completely different. There's no doubt about it, because just the way the world is moving. So I think the opportunity, like you say, it's I guess the if there's challenges in the accessibility and representation at the moment, and there's steps being taken now, I can only see it improving over time. So the question I actually want to go back to, from something you said earlier, and it was around the tensions that you had with your mum. The question is, where do you get your audacity from? And I mean audacity in the best possible way.
Where do I get it from? I've grown up, I've seen my mum go through some really difficult times. I've seen some things that perhaps as a child I should never have seen. And it's just made me a bit belligerent, a bit, almost like women, we have a right, even though my mum was saying you can't go, I have a right to, and I can do it and I will do it. It's just, it's in me, for probably experiences I've had. I'm comfortable going, well, I disagree. Well, just because you are, I don't know, seen as that person, I don't know, somebody who is a decision maker that other people wouldn't challenge. I absolutely challenge anybody. I love this. Why not? I don't understand it. And I think, I think my mum's given me that. She doesn't realise, but I always say I credit that to my mum. It's okay to ask. You might not get what you want. It's okay to ask and disagree, which is what I've always... Some people have a problem with that, real problem, which I just don't understand. In the role as a leader, I think one of the things that I really empower my teams to do, but my first question when what do you think? Tell me what you think. And it's okay to disagree, because I don't know everything. I'm on a journey. I always believe I'm still learning. I don't know everything, in my opinion, which is, if you are a leader in a position of influence, you should allow people to challenge your thinking. I think it's healthy.
I love hearing your story because you kind of kept it and you went into a leadership role and you maintained it, where actually so many of us could just fall back, shrink, be silent in the room, or actually I'm lucky to be here, so let me not rock the boat.
When I was at school, I was so shy, and I am still quite shy. And I think sometimes our culture is be seen and not heard, you know, and I took that into, and I think I did all right, you know, but I found it hard. I found it hard to ask questions. I was so shy, you know, and I think it kept me back a bit.
Yeah.
And I think as you know, you get older and you realise that it's not a good thing. And one thing and I always say it now, I am never prepared. I said it when I got the England job, or when I went, whatever job I've got, whatever I'm doing, wherever I go next, I will never compromise who I am. I'm not doing it. I'm not compromising myself. I don't need to, and I won't, and I haven't done that for years. With the England job, I'm not doing it. I'm just this is who I am. If you think I'm aggressive, that's your problem. It's not my problem. You've got to deal with it. It's not my problem. It's not about me. It's about you.
What is the best advice you've ever received and the worst advice you've ever received?
The worst advice, you know, sit in the corner, be quiet, don't say anything. Have a voice. And people are quite often afraid to say things because they feel stupid, don't they?
Yep.
Listen, if you feel stupid, so's the next one. Have a voice. Be brave enough to, you know, have that voice. That's the worst thing, and that's growing up. That's a cultural thing, I think. So, yeah. But it really didn't help me. Really didn't help me. The best advice: take the job.
Oh, that is good advice.
Take the England job. Take the job. Take the job, Hope. That was the best advice. I took it, and I think as a result of that, I'm sitting here, aren't I?
Yeah. Thank you so much for sitting here with me.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
Thank you so much. I'll take the compliment. And that's a wrap. If you know someone that would benefit from the knowledge and wisdom shared in this episode, please do share it with them now. To keep up with Wanna Be, follow us along on your favourite podcast player or app, or follow at Content is Queen HQ on Instagram for the latest updates and episode releases. Until next time, bye.